You have been sifting and sorting, and in the process, you've been launching these rockets of desires. And in the process, you've created a vibrational version of the reality that you are seeking. Now, we want you to understand that to you, it's a future version of a reality that you are looking for. But to us, it's an existing reality that you've already carved out that does exist. Can you hear the difference in that? When you want more money, you become vibrationally more prosperous. And even though you doubt it and you don't let it flow into your experience, you have become a more vibrationally prosperous being. So we began talking to you about this vortex. It's a vibrational reality that existed in part before you even came into this physical body, and that you've been adding to vibrationally ever since. And so for a while, we talked about it for quite a while with you. We wrote a whole book about getting into the vortex, being a vibrational match to the vibrational reality that is you. And after a while of listening to us, you were very kind and nice and patient with us as you were watching Esther wave her arm around about this place that you can't really see, while Abraham insisted that this is a vortex of creation and that everything you want is in there. And if you could just look more carefully, you could see it, that this is the vibration, this is the vortex, and you want to get in there, and you say, oh, okay. I don't actually see anything now that I'm in there. And then we said, of course, you don't see it or hear it or smell it or taste it or touch it, because that's all about the manifested version. In other words, the vibrational reality is, hear this, we're only going to say it to you 1,000,000 times. The vibrational version of it is, oh, we can't wait to tell you, and yet we want to let there be enough suspense that you remember when we do tell you. The vibrational version is unconditional. Now, there should be a lot bigger gasp in the room. Because what that means is the conditions have not been realized yet by you. You began saying things to us such as, Abraham, I'll accept your odd version of all of this. I can accept that I was something before I was this. And I'll even accept that that something still exists and that there is some relativity to it. And I guess I can accept that my emotions speak to that relationship. And I'll play your silly game. Okay, there's a vortex. There's a vortex, and everything I want is in it. So, Abraham, how do I get my money out of the vortex and into the bank? That's what I really want to know. And it's really what we want you to know. There's no satisfaction. You're physical beings. You've come forth into this physical time-space reality. You are creators. You have come to manifest things. It is never our intention to get you to just be happy with the vibrational version of things. We just want you to know that the vibrational version of things exists and that it does have a frequency, and that you've got to feel yourself to the frequency before there is a match and before it can be realized by you. If you want money and you're complaining about not having enough, your money is not going to come out of the vortex into your bank account, because there is too much vibrational discord going on with you. So over time, we've been explaining lots of different ways. You got to find the feeling of the money. And you say to us, and we understand, how can I find the feeling of something that isn't? And we say, but you see, you've trained yourself so conditionally. You have been such responders to conditions that you don't realize that you could respond to a vibration and create a condition. You did not come to face reality. You came to create reality. But you can't create a new reality while you've got your undivided attention upon the reality that exists. If you let what is be the reason that you offer the vibration that you offer, it's just going to keep repeating itself. Different places, different faces. Same scenario over and over and over and over again. You don't need our word for that. You know it. You've been living it, haven't you? Different places, different faces, but not much shifting. If you just keep looking at what is and talking about what is and joining groups that also are agreeing about what is, as you keep talking about what is and how much you don't like what is and how long you've been living what is that you don't want to live what is, and how many others are living the same what is that you don't want, and how somebody else should do something about changing the condition about what is so that you could just observe what is and feel better. And we say, give it up. Give it up. You're only going to continue to perpetuate what is. And a lot of what is pretty sweet, isn't it? There's a lot of what is that you want to continue. There's a lot of what is that is good as it is and is getting better all the time. There is a lot of what is that is really the way you want it to be. But there is some of what is that is not the way you want it to be. And those things, you've got to get your attention off of the what isness of them and onto the vibrational essence of what you are seeking. So Esther's been listening to us. Every time we get on a new rant about something, Esther believes us because she's never found a shred of evidence to the contrary of anything that we've ever said. So she digs into the process that we recommend and finds the manifestational results. So recently, she's been noticing conditions that are not pleasing. Some conditions that are mildly annoying. Some conditions that are enormously annoying. Some conditions that are unspeakably uncomfortable in the world. There are things that you don't want to be going on. So when she finds herself, for whatever reason, giving her attention to one of those conditions, and she takes the emotional hit of it, she can feel that the opinion of her inner being and the opinion of her, that the opinion of Abraham and the opinion of her are very different opinions, because she can feel the discord, the negative emotion, the tug of war. So she's been sitting with her book and writing the condition, the unwanted condition. This is what's going on, and I sure would feel better if that condition did not exist. And then she acknowledges, but it does exist. It's not my job or my capability. It's not my work. It's not for me to do to change the condition. It just exists. It's also not my work to accept the condition. It is a condition. It's a condition. And then she writes, it's been very helpful for her, if this condition could change to one I prefer, I would feel like this. And then she begins writing some of the emotions that she would feel. I will feel freer, she usually writes. I would feel better. I would feel happier. I would feel better. And then she sits and writes those emotional words, because after all, isn't everything you want, whether it's a material object, a state of being, a pile of money, isn't everything that you want it because you think you would feel better if you had it? So sometimes she'll write a page or two or three or four emotional words. She repeats herself over and over again. She writes the word fun a lot. It would be more fun. Be more fun. I'd feel more clear. I would feel more proud. I would feel more sure. I would feel love. I would feel better. I would feel so good. I would feel exhilarated. I would feel lighthearted. I'd feel that being on vacation feeling. I would feel ease. I would feel sure. I would feel loved. I would feel love. I would feel loved. I would feel loved. I would feel loved. I would feel blessed. I would feel so happy. I would feel glad. And she just writes that and writes that and writes that and writes that and writes that. Before she knows it, she feels those ways because she has distracted herself from the condition, and now she is experiencing unconditional alignment. Are you following? It sounds so simple, it sounds silly. But if you want to feel happy, you've got to figure out how to withdraw your attention from conditions that you cannot change. And even before that, it would be very helpful if you would accept that you cannot change any condition other than the way you feel. So the other day, Esther's been listening to us talking about this. We've been talking about it quite a bit. And she's determined because she so wants to feel good. So she was sitting in Texas in a chair in her living room that looks out across the pool. And she was in such a heightened state of well-being that as she looked out there and saw the crane statues, they're just magnificent, and the beautiful oak trees that are right there, right on the other side of her pool. And the pool itself and all of its engineering and beauty and sound, as she looked around, and then the red bird that stood on the point of a tip of a tree and just looked at her. And as Esther is looking at all of this, she is feeling, she's reaching for words to describe to you. You sort of have to kind of be there, but rapturous, elation, unspeakable well-being, indefinable well-being, all the well-being of the world being experienced by her right now. It's a feeling of feeling blessed and loved. And as she sat there, basking in this moment in time, and loving the idea of it lasting forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, it started fading as she focused a little laxly. And then she said, "Aha, Abraham, I've caught you in a inconsistency here because these are conditions that I am focused upon and I feel good. So don't talk to me about unconditional love, because these are conditions and I love them." And we said, here's the difference. You were in that state of love before you realized the depth of the beauty of these conditions. You weren't using these conditions to conjure the feeling of love. You were there and then you realized them. It's the horse before the cart thing, isn't it? In other words, feels like nitpicking. It feels like splitting hairs. It feels like something that we are making more simplistic than you want it to be. But it is that easy. You just have to decide that you want to feel good and stop thinking about things that keep you from feeling good. You're like a cork that bobs on the surface, and that's what feeling good is. You can hold that cork under the water, but when you let go, it's going to bob back up. And this is the thing that we want you to realize about yourself and others. And most of you don't realize it about yourself and others. Happiness is your natural state and would be your state if you weren't thinking thoughts that introduce contradictory energy that keep you from being where the source within you is. That is your natural state. And if you are not happy in any moment, something is out of whack, and it's you. We have enjoyed this interaction more than these words can explain to you. We are loving the resonance that you feel. It feels good to feel the alignment with who you are, doesn't it? And you are as close to unconditional awareness of life as you have ever been. You'll feel more. When we analyze, focus on, pay attention to religious or governmental documents, there have been so many, there is a predominant quest that is at the basis of all of those revolutionary documents. And every one of those documents was a revolution against something. Think about it. In that inspired revolutionary document was the natural, central, source-inspired understanding, awareness, determination for self-actualization and freedom. Every single time. You've just discovered that here today. You now will never again be bound by any misunderstanding of anything, because you now know how to go right to the source of who you are. And that's the freedom that everyone's been talking about. No, don't ask why. Don't ask why. Why did you take that out? I took it out because it felt like something I wanted to do from where I stood. And this is the best I can do from here. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain in your voice.